Sometimes when I comment on what a polymath is, we start a conversation about when being a specialist is better than a generalist, or the other way around. However, being a polymath does not mean that you are a generalist, nor does it rule out the role of specialists. In fact, the three functions can coexist, and they even should within a company. Each has its place. Although there is little content, at least I didn't find it, about the advantages and disadvantages that each one has. I found a research from the University of Southern California, jack of all trades and master of knowledge. I will comment a little on it. Like this content already if you like this kind of topic, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel too. When being a specialist is better than being a generalist. Hello there everyone! A key point of this study is that many of the advances come from combining different areas of expertise. For example, Charles Babbage sort of inventing computational machines was inspired by Charles' knowledge of the silk weaving industry. Likewise, Henry Ford's revolutionary idea of the automobile manufacturing assembly line was inspired by slaughterhouses. Thus, one of the things that is common sense in the creativity area, and I keep on saying that in lectures and in my courses, is that you have to stimulate creativity by encouraging people to explore new fields, gather more references, and get involved with new people. The more experience they have, the more they can connect the dots where other people do not see a link. But another study has found that there are costs for generalists. There's a saying that goes, jack of all trades, master of none, right? This line of research argues that specialists with a deeper understanding of the subject can better identify and seize opportunities. For example, researchers have found that the recombination of ideas from the domain of a specialization as opposed to various areas of knowledge leads to further innovation. Specialists may also find it easier to collaborate because it's clear how the work should be divided. And when does a generalist do better in a team? These points suggest that being a specialist is better than a generalist in important areas. They're encouraging your employees to become generalists, right? Bearing in mind that being a polymath is not the same as being a generalist. However, I have not found research talking about being a T-shaped professional. There is considerable evidence supporting being a generalist may be better than a specialist, so I think both are probably right. But there must be certain circumstances under which generalists shine and others under which specialists do. There's an article from the USA Marshall School of Business where they comment a little bit about it. The theory is that the benefits of being a generalist are stronger in areas with a slower pace of change. In these fields, it can be more difficult for specialists to invent new ideas and identify new opportunities, while generalists can find inspiration in other areas. And the opposite is also true. Specialists do better in areas that change faster, since generalists will have a hard time updating themselves. To test this, they studied areas that experience a sudden change of pace and others that remain stable. This is exactly what happened in theoretical mathematics after the collapse of the Soviet Union. How the study was conducted. In the 80s, Soviet mathematicians were ahead of their Western counterparts in some fields of theoretical mathematics, but not in others. When the Soviet Union collapsed, a great deal of the scientific advances became available to Western mathematicians. This increased the pace of change in the fields where the Soviet Union was ahead of the West. This study compared mathematicians working in rapidly changing fields, mainly subfields of mathematical analysis, with those who worked in less affected fields, mainly algebra and geometry subfields. Then, the performance of more than 4,000 mathematicians in the 80s and 2000s period was tracked 10 years before and 10 years after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The number of publications and the area they belonged to was also analyzed, adjusted by the number of citations, in order to control quality. The results. In fields that have not changed much, slower fields, specialists were less productive than generalists, but this gap further increased after the collapse. In the most affected fields, faster-paced fields, the opposite happened. Whereas before the collapse, the specialists were more productive than the generalists. After this collapse, this gap widened because the productivity of the specialists increased, while the productivity of the generalists decreased. They even published 83% more cited articles than generalists in the 10 years after the collapse, compared to the previous 10 years. There is no single strategy to promote creativity. In an incredible book called Range, David Epstein studies executive success. Rather than becoming a specialist right from the start, these studied executives have experimented with different careers and positions. Because they have a greater pool from which to draw new ideas, even as a specialist later. What can we learn from this? Reading about when being a specialist is better than a generalist, you must have discovered that there is no concrete answer. It depends a lot on the type of person you are. If you are more passionate about a specific topic, you should consider this for your career. Passion is needed for success. And if you love to learn, don't worry about becoming a specialist. Specialists can be polymaths too. On the other hand, if you have broader interests like me and/or you still don't know what you want for your career, start as a generalist, try out different areas, and after that you can choose a path. Your choice will not define you as smarter or better. Specialists aren't smarter than generalists, and the opposite isn't true either. Both paths require hard work to become relevant, even more so in a complex world like today. Ultimately, both paths offer advantages and disadvantages. It depends on your personality and career and life goals. As we say in my hometown, better than that, just twice that. During this month of December, I'll be creating new content until our next course is ready. Hit thumbs up if you like this content, don't forget to share it with your colleagues and co-workers, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel too. Always look both ways, see you in the future.